Samay Raina is meditating before his game just like a top player like Gukesh or Vidit. He's playing in the semi-finals of Comedians on the Board Revival against his nemesis Prakhar Gupta. 2 games of 10 plus 0. It begins with knight f3, d5, d4. We have the queen's pawn opening. Knight comes out to f6. And let's see what Samay does here. He plays the queen's gambit with c4 and declined by e6. Knight comes out to c3. This is one of the main lines at top level chess these days. Bishop to e7, and Samay now develops his bishop to g5. We have knight to d7 by Prakhar, e3 and h6. A question is asked to the bishop. The bishop goes back, keeping the pin here. Black castles, and now bishop d3, rook c1. These are the natural moves, but Samay gains space with c5. Now usually knight e4, b6, a5, these are the moves that should be played here. But if you are not active and you make passive moves like rook e8, and now Prakhar must do something. He must strike here or in the center. But knight f8, this is too passive. This allows Samay to gain space and gain a very good position. He can now play b4, b5, even gain further space. He jumps into e5 with his knight, which is actually a good move. He wants to play f4. This is known as the Pillsbury bind. The player named Pillsbury used to often put his knight on e5 and then plonk it with d4 and f4. a5 played by Prakhar, stopping b4, but in doing so he has weakened the b6 square. The knight has a free route to going there, and Samay, well, he's become so good at chess that he instantly realizes it and plays it. Now knight d7 is important. He comes back with the knight. Now f4. And he plays it. f4 on the board. Knight e4. But this leads to exchanges which would be in Samay's favor. So you take the bishop, which he does. Then take this knight. Then take this knight as well. And then you are left with a good knight and a very bad bishop. So something like this. Let's say bishop e4, he takes it, very good move. Samay doing this, and now knight d7, bishop d7, knight b6, come knight c4, knight d6. White is clearly dominating, but he goes knight b6 directly, and in doing so, well, he does get rid of this knight on d7, but his pawn on b6, which is going here, is going to get weak. This is going to get attacked. The queen can come here, it can attack here. Rook a6, beautiful move by Prakhar. And now Samay doesn't want to put his queen here, defending it. So he goes on the attack. He goes queen h5. He asks Prakhar, do you want this pawn? You can take it. I'm going for g4, g5. And look at Prakhar there, fully concentrated. He's trying to see if taking the pawn is a good idea or not. He does it. He takes on b6. And Samay now, which is a good move by Prakhar, g4. Typical Samay play, and actually excellent idea. If you get greedy with rook takes b2, g5 is really good. But Prakhar is very alert. He goes f6. This is high quality chess by both these players. Now the knight has to move away. He goes knight g6. Samay making all the moves that look visually very dangerous. But now after queen f7, the knight on g6 is going to be not so well placed. Queen to f7. And f5 played. Trying to fix the knight on g6. Rook to b5. The rook pins the pawn. And rook f4. This is very interesting. Samay is trying to double up on the f file. Takes. Pawn takes f5. And now bishop d7. Quickly trying to finish his development. Rook comes to f1. Maybe it's now time to pick up this pawn. He goes c5. Whoa, very nice play. Prakhar getting out his bishop to c6. He takes. And now rook takes c5. I love how Prakhar is step by step creating issues for Samay. Queen g4 played, trying to get this knight back into the game, but from where? Bishop c6 defends the pawn on e4. It's like all of white's pieces are huddled on one side but have nothing to do. It's like a rally or a protest, but what are they protesting for? Rook d1, getting the rook on the open file. It's a good decision, but now a2 is hanging. Does Prakhar go and chop it off? And he does it. Wow. Prakhar is in good shape right now. He's kind of launching a counter attack. b2, rook c2 can come in. And queen comes back to e2. If you have to make this move, which is purely defensive, that shows that your position is not good. He goes rook b5, and time wise both players down to 2 minutes. By the way, the time control wasn't 10 plus 0, it was 10 plus 5. Very important. b6, knight comes to f4. Samay finally being able to get the knight back into play. And that was a good maneuver, but he's losing a pawn on f5 and Prakhar takes it. He immediately saw it. And now Samay goes queen. Oh, he wanted to play queen g4 here, but then saw that rook g5 is coming, which would have dropped his queen. So goes queen c2. Now finally queen d2 or not? Plays queen d2. Wow. Okay. Queen on d2. He goes rook g5 check. Rook g2. Every trade helps black. Black is, count the pawns, 3 pawns up. But there's a knight. Knight is always tricky when you have less time, especially for players who are not playing chess regularly. Knight's movement can often cause a lot of confusion. Samay goes rook g1. He's trying to line up the rook against the king. g5. Prakhar lashes out. And Samay brings his king to f2, pinning the pawn here so that it cannot take his knight. King h7, just tucking the king on the side of the board. And now once again threatening to take the knight. Knight comes back to e2. There's a nice square for the knight waiting on d4. Prakhar touches the queen. He brings the queen to c7, attacking h2. And now also rook d8. Very nice move, by the way. Excellent chess. Knight to g3. Rook d8, taking the open file. Queen c3, attacking d6. f6. And queen d6. Nice move. He wants to go queen d2 check. Prakhar with just a minute on the clock, making one good move after another. Queen d2, and you can see Prakhar, he has this look of a person who knows that he's going to win now. King g3, and he takes the queen, which is the most practical way to finish off this game. Rook to d3, another excellent move. Now with the idea of attacking c3 and e3, bishop d7, kicking off the knight. He goes rook f1, but now just pd7. Just get rid of this knight. No, he goes bishop b5. He's setting up some tricks here on f1. Samay finds a good move. Go back bd7. This is important. But Prakhar is now going wrong. He goes rook d5. He attacks the knight, but the knight can jump back. Suddenly b6 is hanging, then f6. This can become really sharp again. Bishop d3, puts the bishop there. Samay is like, thank you for the pawn. Rook c5, attacking c3. f6 is hanging, another pawn is lost. Prakhar takes on c3. But now knight f5. The knight and the rook acting together. It's time to push the pawn. And Prakhar is so confused because his position was totally winning from that. It has become now wild. Anything can happen here. He goes rook to c7 and things have changed totally. Rook takes h6, check. King g8, rook g6 check. King f7, huge blunder. Rook g7 will win. He just needs to take. No, he takes on g5. Rook g7 check. He would have won the rook here. King f6 played by Prakhar. Immediately seeing this, the position is equal. Needs to go king f4. But Samay blunders. And now bishop e2 attacks the rook and the knight falls. He does it. Whoa, what a turn of events here. In just 2 to 3 moves, everything went from one side to another, and now Prakhar has an extra piece completely. h4 check, and this should not be difficult to win. He goes rook check, rook g2, king f1 and rook to a2, rook b6. We have a4, a3, rook b2, a2, just pushing the pawn forward. Samay, well, the game was so interesting. He had his chance. h5 takes the pawn, and there's something about Prakhar, every time he just leans back, that he's gotten something that he was hoping for. a3, the a pawn pushes forward. Rook a4, king comes up. Prakhar doing this in style. Samay will have to win on demand if he wants to have any chance of making a comeback in this match. a2, the threat is rook d1 check, and I make a queen. Samay hoping for some stalemate tricks. He goes rook e1, nice move, and takes the queen with him. Rook takes, he goes king b2, makes a queen, trades off the rooks, and bishop e2 simply goes and attacks the e3 pawn, and that pawn is falling. Prakhar is like, come on, resign my friend there. I can win this. I can win with one pawn. I have an extra bishop as well. Bishop a6. And now e3, and finally Samay resigns. 1-0 for Prakhar Gupta. What a start to this encounter. And Samay now needs to win on demand here with the black pieces even. This is not at all going to be easy. Let's see what he does. He puts back all the pieces there. The comedians on board is an amazing event between some of the most famous comedians of India, but now it is extended to also some of the non-comedians like celebrities. For example, Prakhar Gupta is a very well-known podcaster, and Samay, by the way, doing things which you will see in professional chess, like Gukesh always sets up the board. And here I think Samay is in a more of a meditative state. He's thinking what his strategy should be for the next game. And well, you can strike back on demand. I think Samay is a big match player, or you can say a big game player. The players are here. The arbiter starts the clock. d4 by Prakhar. He's an e4 player but plays the Trompowsky against Samay. This is special preparation by Prakhar with his trainer, friend and second, Sahil Tiku. Samay takes his time, and he can play pawn to d5, he can play e6. He calms himself down because it's critical what he chooses in the opening. He takes 30 seconds, plays knight e4, bishop f4, and now d5 is a very decent move. But in online chess, Samay often plays g5, and he plays this move, and Prakhar goes back, bishop c1. What insane preparation. And already white has the advantage. f3, you're going to win the g5 pawn. Knight to d6, but you know, the position is not so bad. Bishop takes g5. You can go rook g8 and put the rook on the open file. Plays rook g8. Bishop comes back to f4. Now the knight on d6. Under pressure. Knight to c6. The way to get an edge here is knight c3, e3, g4, bishop d3 and so on. He goes e3. And we have bishop to f5 played. Now this bishop here on f5 is putting pressure on this diagonal. Prakhar goes bishop d3 and this is a mistake because rook takes g2 is possible. Look at this. Rook takes g2. Now bishop f5, that is knight f5. If you play bishop d6, I go bishop d3 first. So there's also the thing that maybe there is bishop g3, but I can simply take here queen d3 and knight b4. So all these things, rook g2 is a good move, but he doesn't take it. He takes on d3, queen d3, and now Samay doesn't take on g2. He goes rook g6, hiding his h7 pawn. This is not good, because now Prakhar can go knight e2. He goes a3. Now controlling the b4 square. Bishop comes to h6, trading off this bishop. Knight e2 is a very nice move because rook g2 impossible, bishop is hanging, and if you take, I take with the knight. He takes on h6, rook h6, knight comes to c3, e6 played, and knight e2, just finishing his development. We have a check, and now no knight g3 because I take and simply this rook and this rook both are falling, so pawn to g3. We have queen h5, attacking f3, pawn to g4. The queen is attacked, the queen comes forward, checks the king. Again knight g3, there is take, so king has to move, king d2, but you can see there's a check that comes in and can really create this mess with the two rooks being not connected. But Samay long castles, which allows Prakhar to bring the rook to f1. What a beautiful move. And now if you give a check, somehow the king goes to c1 and everything is coordinated. So that check was a little bit mistimed by Samay. But he has his nice knight here. He plays queen to, he was going to play queen g5, which is not a bad move. But now, tempted by queen e7, he wants to sacrifice something on a3. King goes to b1. This is dangerous what Prakhar is doing because his position can now become really bad. Knight a5, beautiful move by Samay. Look at 1, 2, 3 pieces and e5 and the rook can swing over. That's just insane. h4. Prakhar is like, I'm playing on the king side. But now knight takes b2 is winning for Samay. King takes, knight c4 and taking here is just game over. Will he find it? No, he plays e5. h5 played. And now knight b2. Let's go. I mean, Prakhar has completely missed that the rook can swing over. Rook b6. Seems also like a great move. He takes on a3. If b takes a3, queen takes a3 with rook b6 coming up is just mating there. I mean, the position is equal because of some insane tactics after knight d5, which is so difficult to see because the queen is against the queen. So I believe Prakhar's decision of not taking the knight and playing king c1 is pretty good. Now just knight comes back to c4. You've gotten rid of a key pawn. The queen can enter in then. But Samay plays e4. I don't know what was on his mind here when he did this. I think he wants to open up the d file for his rook. That's the thing that's playing on his mind. But it's like He's gotten a bit too emotional in this moment. He had simple moves that he could have made, but now with this kind of a thing, he's allowed Prakhar's queen to get into the game. The d pawn still remains where it has to. Rook e6, good move. Attacking the e3 pawn, he goes queen f5, pinning the rook on e6. And maybe threatening d5, knight c4 played, attacking e3. So if d5 now, there is queen b4. Well, knight c4, he goes rook h3, defending this pawn, and queen b4. Insane play here by both players. b3 by Prakhar, just kicking the knight away, and Samay Raina now finds knight a5, and he is all set to sacrifice something on b3. Queen c5. Queen c5 is not the best move because of knight takes b3, cb3, queen b3, threatening a mate. Will Samay play this? He takes it. He gives up the piece. And queen b3, threatening a mate now. Queen f5 must. But Prakhar goes king d2, the most natural move. Samay has a winning move, rook e5. If you take queen e5, knight c4 check, you lose the queen. If queen a7, rook a5. If you take here, knight c4 wins the queen. Tough moment. Rook e5 is an insanely tough move. He goes for the most natural check, but the king runs away. And that is exactly the moment where chess becomes so tough. You don't know that there is something hidden there, and you just make the most natural move and your position collapses. Samay had to find this insanely tough rook e5 because of the pin here. But rook takes f7. It's Prakhar now on the counterplay, or you can say counter attack. There's a mate threatened on c7, pawn to c6. But now, even before Samay can give one more check to the white king, Prakhar is threatening mate after mate. And once you have to trade pieces, well, that's done. Queen check. King, queen lose. Another pawn is lost. King e6. Rook takes rook check. Rook takes rook. Queen c6 check. King f7. And he gives another check. We have king g7, check here, and it's a mate. King g8 and checkmate there. Prakhar wins 2-0 and qualifies to the finals. What an amazing semi-finals that was, and very good high quality chess by both these players.